Welcome to the Abundance Hack Show, where we are inspiring you to tap into your power to manifest the happiness, success, and fulfillment that you desire. I am your host, Niajae, the Upper Limit Coach. I am here to dismantle your limiting beliefs and remove the blocks so you can confidently live your life's purpose, because life is meant to be abundant. Hey M&Ms, thank you for tuning in to the Abundance Hack Show. What abundance are you attracting to you today? There's so much I want to touch on in this episode, so let's dive right in. Today we are talking about self-love, but what does that really mean? Self-love means having a high regard for your own well-being and happiness. Self-love means taking care of your own needs and not sacrificing your well-being to please others. Self-love means not settling for less than what you deserve. As you may know, I have been on this intense journey of self-development and personal growth, and one thing I can tell you is that there are layers to self-love. Layers. It's really funny. Well, maybe not funny, but it was actually my poor dating life that inspired me to really dive deep into self-love. You know how people say, you have to love yourself before you can love anyone else or anyone can love you? I thought that was the dumbest thing I've ever heard, because I'm like, I love myself. Have you seen how I spoil myself? I'm all about self-care and date nights with self. So yes, I take myself out on dates. I cook myself fancy dinners. I wear lingerie that may be TMI, but I like walking around the house feeling sexy. So I'm like, dude, this piece of advice does not apply to me. I love myself. But after doing an EFT session, and EFT is emotional freedom technique, I discovered there was a part of me that I was ashamed of, a painful time in my life. It was about when I was 13, and that's the layer of self-love that people don't realize. If we're ashamed of a part of us, our past, our inner child, our shadow self, and for anyone who isn't familiar with the term shadow self, the shadow is the side of your personality that contains all of the parts of yourself that you don't want to admit to having. So at first, it's unconscious, but through the efforts to become more self-aware, we recognize our shadow. So there's a deeper level of self-love to be able to love the parts of us that are not as pretty. That's the layer of self-love that we must achieve. The reality is you have to love yourself as a whole. Even the dark areas contribute to who you are today. The sun wouldn't seem so bright without the darkness of the night. Oh, that's deep. Someone quote me and put that on a meme. Like, where's my assistant? All right, let me focus. So let's break this down. I think there are layers of self-love, and I think that there are important components. Those components are self-awareness, being aware of the parts of you that you've suppressed, that you're ashamed of, that you simply don't even realize. And sometimes we suppress stuff so deep, it takes some intense inner work to allow it to come to surface. The next component is self-acceptance. Once you're aware of these less than pretty parts, you have to accept them. At 13, I didn't feel wanted by my parents. That was hard for me to accept in my adult life. I had suppressed those feelings and emotions so deep. It wasn't until the EFT session that I even allowed it to come to the surface. But I had to face it, and I had to sit in those feelings as an adult. Because suppressing them, denying them, sweeping them under the rug, it's not getting you anywhere. So ask yourself, what unpretty parts of you do you need to accept? Once we shine light on these dark areas, we set them free and they no longer hold power over us. So the next component is self-compassion. And this is one I've really been focusing on lately. Be gentle with yourself. Be kind to yourself. Be patient with yourself. I had to start sending my 13-year-old self love because I love me, the me that I am now. But every now and then I get triggered and I get pouty because someone didn't choose me. And I know that it's triggering my 13-year-old me that didn't feel wanted. I share my experiences openly with you all so you know that you're not alone during your self-development or personal growth journey. And I hope that my story inspires you to peel some layers back because you deserve to be the best version of you. You deserve it. So the last component I want to address is inner peace. Self-love requires inner peace. Once you are aware, once you've accepted, and once you're compassionate towards yourself, I think the reward is inner peace. I think that trusting the universe, but also trusting yourself is so powerful. So powerful. So ask yourself, what about myself do I need to accept? What area can I be more compassionate towards myself? And where can I focus on having more inner peace? So these are really, really powerful questions that I highly encourage you to take time and journal about. Another thing I've been focusing on lately is the difference between a painful need and a joyful desire. I'll use my example of feeling the need to be chosen. Now, we all want to be chosen, but where it comes from makes all of the difference. So let me give you an example. Say I was back in my 13-year-old life and I was in PE and my classmates are choosing people for a team. Let's just say volleyball. Everyone else is getting picked except for me and one other girl. Now, every time someone is being picked and it's not me, it's like a dagger through my heart because it's a trigger for me. It subconsciously reminds me of when I didn't feel loved or wanted by my parents. Now, because the other little girl doesn't have the same experience, it's nothing to her. Like, she's fine. She's like, whatever, I don't want to play volleyball anyway. So my need to be chosen comes from a painful place rather than a joyful desire. So the law of attraction says what we think about, we bring about. Now, here's where it gets a little tricky. If I'm focused on this need to be chosen, the universe will continue to bring me situations where I'm not chosen because I'm focused on this need. Now, I also believe we will continue to be shown situations that trigger us because the universe is saying, hey, you need to heal this. And until you do, you're going to continue to be triggered. So how do you fix it? You have to love yourself more. Love that pained part of you. So whatever that looks like for you, that painful part or past, love it, accept it, embrace it, and know that this thing in your past doesn't define your future. It doesn't define you. It doesn't determine who you are today. You choose who you are today and who you want to be tomorrow. And the thing about it is that painful past, it contributes to the person that you are now. Maybe you've gained a tremendous amount of strength from that situation. So if you deny it and you suppress it and you try to sweep it under a rug, you're denying a part of you that has contributed to the person that you are today. So, in my case, I just have to love that 13-year-old girl and tell her, like, it's okay. Like, your life actually turns out really amazing. Even if you're not chosen, that doesn't define who you are because you are amazing. You are loved. You are wanted. And yeah, like, whoever doesn't choose you, it's their loss anyway. And the thing about our triggers is, like, when we really start to dive deep into some of these subconscious blocks and limiting beliefs and pains from our past, sometimes our adult self is like, okay, this is really silly. It's really silly. But until we address it and face it, it'll keep resurfacing. It'll keep resurfacing until we face it. And sometimes it is really, really painful. So people don't want to deal with it. They don't want to sit in that pain and admit, like, yeah, I didn't feel loved. And I can only talk about it now because I faced it and I've dealt with it. And trust me, trust me, like there were a lot of tears, a lot of pain, a lot of journaling, a lot of meditating. But it's like now I can understand. And I think a lot of like what triggers, a lot of it is just the awareness. And like I said, once you shine light on that area, it no longer has power over you. So take your power back. Take your power back and don't let pain from your past prevent you from loving yourself completely. So really think about your needs and your desires and ask yourself, is this coming from a place of pain or is it coming from a place of joy and love? And I'll give you another example. Maybe you feel the need for money because you know the pain of not paying a bill, or maybe you lost a house or couldn't pay your mortgage one day. That's a very difficult thing to deal with. So your need for money is coming from a place of pain. Now that's a very, very different feeling than wanting money so you can go shopping or go on vacation. It's a very different feeling, needing money to pay bills versus wanting money to shop or go on vacation. So it's really, really powerful to reflect on your needs and your desires and try to make sure that your desires are coming from a place of joy and love, because that's how you really tap into abundance and that's how you tap into the law of attraction. So these desires are being met. All right, so I want to give you some tips. I have 6 ways to cultivate self-love. Number 1 is don't compare yourself to others. This with social media, I think, is really difficult. And honestly, it's something that I struggle with myself. Like, we tend to compare ourselves to other people's businesses and other people's relationships and other people's lives. But the reality is, when you compare yourself to others, you are stealing your own joy. So don't compare yourself to others. Like, it's really simply said, but it's a lot harder to execute. But we just have to remind ourselves every single day, when you find yourself comparing yourself, stop yourself immediately and say, you know what, let me focus on what I have to be grateful for. It's a great time to practice gratitude. The second you start looking at someone else's business, relationship, or life, say, you know what am I grateful for? Let me list 10 things I'm grateful for, so it will shift that energy back to your life and what you have to be grateful for. Number 2 is know your worth. Know your worth. And this is something that I think is really, really powerful. And I don't think a lot of women know their worth these days. And it's really, really important to own who you are, own your gifts, own your power, and fully stand in that. And be unapologetic about it. Like, be unapologetic about it. There's so many times we tone ourselves down for the comfort of others. And there is nothing worse than dulling your shine to make someone else feel comfortable. Don't do it. Don't do it. Know your worth. Own your power. Own your gifts. Stand in it and stand tall and confident. Like, look, I get worked up, you guys. All right. Number 3 is don't lose sight of your passions and pleasures. Have fun and hold on to your identity. This is really powerful. This is really powerful, especially for parents and especially for husbands and wives. There's a lot of times we get into relationships and marriages and we lose track of who we are. We lose track of our passions and our pleasures, and we mold ourselves to another individual. Like, for example, let's just say you had a passion to, I don't know, bowl, and your partner doesn't like bowling. So you stop bowling because your partner doesn't like it. In my personal opinion, it's very healthy to hold on to your passions and your hobbies and things that speak to your identity. And it's okay to have different hobbies than your partner. You don't have to do everything together, and maybe try it, maybe try it at first and see if you can get them to like bowling. But if they don't, that's okay. You go bowling and they go do something else that they want to do, because when you lose your identity, that's not self-love. That's not self-love. If you stop doing the things that you're passionate about and that you enjoy, that's not self-love. So really holding on to your passions, your pleasures, having fun, holding on to your identity. And even if you're not in a relationship, like I'm not in a relationship, but sometimes I get so caught up in business, for example, and I lose myself to my business because I'm just like, I gotta work. And I'm not doing things that are fun. And it's like, I can't not work right now and go do something fun. Yes, I can, because at the end of the day, why do we work so hard? To enjoy life. So if you're not enjoying life, then why are you working so hard? And if you can unplug from business for a little bit, when you come back, you're going to be recharged, renewed, refreshed, and you're going to do an even better job. So have fun. Hold on to your identity, your passions, and your pleasures. Is imposter syndrome holding you back from taking your business or life to the next level? Is your upper limit preventing you from achieving the success you truly desire and deserve? Because you do deserve an abundant life. Go to Niajae.com/transcend to register for my exclusive masterclass, Transcend Your Upper Limits. Learn how to navigate through the hurdles on the way to the success, the happiness, and the fulfillment you desire. That's Niajae.com/transcend, Niajae.com. It's time to transcend your upper limit. Number 4 is focus on self-care. Making sure you have a healthy routine, setting healthy boundaries. It's okay to say no, and it's okay to take care of yourself first. Now, I know this is something that is widely debatable. People say like, oh, it's selfish to take care of you first, like especially if you're in a marriage or if you are a parent, again. But my personal belief is that, and I say this all the time, one of my favorite quotes, you can't pour from an empty cup. You have to take care of you first. When your cup is full, you will have more to give others. When your cup is overflowing, that overflow is going to feel so much better to your partner, to your kids, to your family. And the reality is, if your cup is not full, you're not giving them the best of you, So take care of you, fill your cup, and then be the best partner you can be the best spouse you can be the best parent you can be, because your cup is full. So I don't think it's selfish to take care of you first. I think it's selfish to give people just a fraction of you, because all right, I won't go down that rabbit hole, but I do believe you have to fill your cup. I think that you deserve the best version of you, but your partner and your kids and your family also deserve the best part of you. All right, let's move on. Number 5 is have self-compassion. Forgive yourself. Be gentle with yourself. Be patient with yourself. This is so important. So I'm super hard on myself, and I have to remind myself sometimes to be patient with myself and to not when I say beat myself up, in a sense of like, I always feel like I should be more productive, and I always feel like I should have done more, and I should have myself together more than what I have. And I'm just like, sometimes I have to remind myself, like, you are doing so damn good. Like, so good. So whatever this little voice in your head saying you should be doing more, you have to quiet that voice. If you have it in your head. I don't know if you have it in your head, but I know sometimes I have it in my head, like, oh, I should have done more today, or this week, or this month, or this year. But you have to quiet that voice and say, you know what? I'm doing great, and I am right where I am meant to be. That is so powerful. So powerful to be gentle with yourself, to be patient with yourself, and know that in this very moment, you are exactly where you were meant to be. Number 6 is commit to loving yourself now. Make the conscious decision to start loving yourself right now. Start treating yourself like someone you love right now. Don't wait till tomorrow. Don't say, oh, you know what, next week I'll start practicing some self-care. No, right now, what can you do for yourself to work towards self-care or self-compassion or being more gentle with yourself or more loving towards yourself? Start right now. I don't know what it is that you need, but you know what you need. And maybe you have to ask yourself, what do I need? A few times. Because if you are in autopilot and you're constantly taking care of everyone else around you, you may not even know what you need because you don't even focus on your needs. You're always focused on what your family needs and what your partner needs and what your boss or employees need. You don't ask yourself, what do I need? So ask yourself right now, what do I need? And I always like to say, ask yourself 3 times because the first time there's going to be some resistance. So ask yourself a second time, what do I need? And if you're not quite there of like releasing the resistance, ask yourself a third time, what do I need? What will fill my cup? And if you read the 5 love languages, he talks about a love tank. What will fill my love tank? Just like a car, we have tanks or cups, however you want to put it. What'll fill your cup? What'll fill your tank? Whatever, however you want to visualize it. What will it take to fill it? Ask yourself. Okay, so I want to share some crystals that are good for self-love. So definitely, by far, rose quartz are the best crystal for self-love. And really quick, I invite you to go over to Instagram and follow The Abundance Box. And we will be selling some really amazing rose quartz. And we're also doing some super awesome giveaways. So if you want to purchase or possibly win some crystals, definitely go follow that Instagram page. I'm really, really excited about that project. And we have some amazing, amazing crystals there. And just this is a new part of the Abundance Hack brand. The Abundance Box is a subscription box, but we are going to be selling all of the goodies that help you tap into abundance. So sage and crystals and essential oils. And I'm super excited because these are things that I love, love, love. So being able to play with all these fun items is just going to be super exciting. But anyway, let me focus. The next crystal is carnelian. I really like this crystal for creativity. Also, this stone works on the sacral chakra, which is associated with pleasure. And obviously, we all like physical pleasure, but actually more like mental and emotional pleasure, like eating a really delicious meal or taking a walk in a park or a paddle on a lake, the stuff that really fills your cup. Carnelian clears away the energy of busyness and gets you to tap back into your calm so you can tune into your inner voice. Now, I think this is really, really powerful, and I think it's really important to not scroll on social media for a certain period of time throughout your day. So even if it's not meditating, you still want to stay off, because I feel like we get addicted to scrolling, like literally sitting on social media scrolling for hours, because sometimes people don't like to hear their own inner voice. Sometimes people are afraid of what their inner voice may even say. And for people who are suppressing emotions and suppressing desires and needs and triggers, those are the people who probably need it the most. And they're suppressing it and ignoring it by scrolling on social media. And then, there's the numbing where people are drinking and drugs and sometimes sex, because you don't want to listen to your inner voice, but your inner voice is teaching you possibly what you need to heal and what you need to heal to have more self-love. So I really love this, and carnelian is one of my favorites. So Yeah, it's a powerful, powerful crystal. The next one is selenite. So selenite clears the clutter in your mind. So I feel like there just needs to be like a bracelet or just a combo packed of these three, like the self-love. Oh my goodness, I just gave myself an idea. So when you go to the abundance box, you should see, by the time this airs, you should see an option for a self-love bundle of rose quartz, carnelian, and selenite. Okay, let me focus. So selenite clears the clutter in your mind. In order to hone in on the self-love, you need to be clear of clutter and distraction. So selenite is a master clearing crystal that helps you tap into high vibes and push out the low vibes of go, go, go. And that's so much of what we do today. We are constantly going, going, going. Everyone's always busy. And the reality is, like, busy doing what? Like scrolling on social media? And I understand that, you know, people are actually busy, but it's like we fill every second of our time with something where we have so many things thrown at us and at our fingertips any given moment. You have your phone and your text and social media and all these apps at your fingertips 24/7. So of course it feels like we're always busy because we're always being stimulated and pulled in so many different directions with smartphones attached to our hands 24/7. So of course we feel busy. So I think this is a really powerful crystal to just help clear some of that, clear it, and really be still for a moment. Be still for a moment and just hone in on how you're feeling. And I know I talked about this recently, but really check in. Make sure you were taking time to check in. Shut off your phone, put it on silent, do not disturb, whatever you have to do, and just sit. Sit for a second and ask yourself, how am I feeling? How am I feeling mentally? How am I feeling emotionally? How am I feeling physically? And breathe. Wim Hof breaths. I feel like I just talked about this in the biohacking episode, but it's really powerful techniques when you feel like you're going 150 miles per hour. It's important that you take a moment, shut off your phone, take some deep breaths, and check in. Ask yourself how you're feeling. That is self-love. Not push yourself, because that's how you become sick. That's how you become burnt out. And that is how you become unhappy. So self-love is taking those moments to check in and breathe. Last but definitely not least, I want to share some affirmations for self-love. Are you ready? I don't know where you are, if you're listening in your car, whatever, but if you are somewhere where you can just close your eyes and just really receive these affirmations, I invite you to do so. And if you're not, if you're driving, it's totally fine. Totally fine. All right. I am worthy of all the joys and riches in the universe. My body is healthy, my mind is brilliant, and my heart is at peace. I acknowledge my own self-worth. My confidence is soaring. I am at peace with all that has happened, is happening, and will happen because I know that everything is towards my highest good. My efforts are being supported by the universe. My dreams are manifesting into reality right before my eyes. I approve of myself. I love myself deeply and fully. I am worthy of love and joy. My life is a gift. I will use this gift with confidence. I will surround myself with positive people who will help bring out the best in me. I embrace positivity and optimism. I am worthy of love. I am so worthy of love. I am love. I hope you enjoy that, and I hope you write out your own self-love affirmations. I want to close this episode by saying, the more we practice self-love, the less we need validation from others. So love yourself fearlessly, unconditionally, and completely. You deserve it. You are so worthy of an abundance of love. Until next time, M&Ms, love and light. Thank you for tuning in to the Abundance Hack Show. I would love to hear from you. Leave your comments and questions, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of our yummy episodes. Every time you leave a 5-star rating or review, I do my happy dance.